You know what's crazy? Most people spend their whole lives trying to change their circumstances, but never once stop to change their thoughts. And that's where the real transformation begins. Let me say this clearly. Your life is only as big as your mind allows it to be. You know, the most powerful realization you will ever have is this: as your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Everything that exists around you, the success you admire, the lifestyle you crave, the confidence you see in others, it all began as a thought. Before there was invention, there was imagination. Before there was achievement, there was belief. The human mind is not just a processor of information. It's a builder of worlds. What you allow to live inside your mind determines what you create outside of it. Most people think their reality shapes their thoughts. But the truth is, your thoughts shape your reality. Every single thing you experience begins first in the unseen world of your thinking. Think about it. When you start believing you can do something, your body follows that belief. You take different actions. You speak differently. You walk differently. The energy you give off changes, and people start responding to you in new ways. It's not magic, it's alignment. The universe mirrors back the frequency of your mindset. If your thoughts are small, your life will shrink to fit them. But when your thoughts are expansive, fearless, and rooted in possibility, life stretches to meet you there. That's why two people can live in the same world, face the same challenges, and still see completely different realities. Because they're not living from the same thoughts. One sees limitation, the other sees opportunity. Same world, different minds. You are the designer of the mental blueprint that life is building from. Every time you say, "I can't," you are laying down bricks of restriction. Every time you say, "I can," you are constructing a doorway to something greater. Most people build walls around their dreams without even realizing it. They let fear, doubt, and other people's opinions become the architects of their lives. But if you want transformation, you must take back control of the blueprint. You must design your thoughts intentionally. Because untrained thoughts lead to chaos, while directed thoughts lead to creation. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. If you plant worry, you'll harvest anxiety. But if you plant belief, you'll harvest miracles. And here's the thing. Your thoughts don't just shape what you do, they shape who you are becoming. Every time you think, "I'm not ready," you reinforce a version of yourself that stays stuck. Every time you think, "I'm built for more," you activate the version of you that's capable of rising. You become what you consistently think about. That's not just philosophy, it's neuroscience. The brain literally rewires itself based on repetition. The thoughts you feed it become your habits, your emotions, your identity. So when you say, "I'll believe it when I see it," you've got it backward. You'll see it when you believe it. This is why changing your outer world without changing your inner world never works. You can move cities, switch jobs, start fresh. But if your thinking stays the same, your results will too. True change begins within. When you shift your thoughts from "I'm not enough" to "I am growing every day," from "I always fail" to I'm learning faster than ever. Your energy shifts. Your actions shift. You stop moving from desperation and start moving from power. And life meets you at that level. You attract experiences that match your new vibration, because your inner world sets the tone for everything that happens in your outer world. So let this be the foundation. Your thoughts are not small, passing moments. They are commands to the universe. They are the blueprints for your future. Every time you choose a thought, you are choosing a direction. You are choosing whether to move toward your purpose or away from it. Your power lies in that choice. You have within you the ability to rebuild everything. Your confidence, your peace, your destiny. Starting with one decision: to think better thoughts, to choose belief over fear, vision over doubt, purpose over hesitation. Because the moment you do, your life begins to shift. Not gradually, but instantly. Yes. And when that shift happens, the world you once dreamed of stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling inevitable. Because once you change your thoughts, life has no choice but to follow. Though the truth is, the world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you believe you are. You can spend years chasing dreams, setting goals, repeating affirmations. But if deep down, you don't believe you deserve what you're asking for, life will keep echoing that disbelief back at you. The universe doesn't just listen to your words. It listens to your energy. And your energy is shaped by your thoughts about yourself. You can say, "I want success," 1,000 times. But if your internal dialogue whispers, "I'm not good enough," that's the message you're broadcasting. Your outer world will always align with your inner frequency. It's not the wish that manifests. It's their belief behind it. Think about it. Every person you admire carries an invisible power. It's not luck. It's not perfection. It's belief. They walk into rooms knowing they belong there. They pursue goals believing they're capable. That belief radiates confidence, and confidence creates results. When you truly believe in yourself, your body language changes, your decisions get bolder, your persistence grows stronger. You stop asking for validation because you become the validation. The world starts treating you differently because you're treating yourself differently. Life mirrors back the identity you project, and the identity you project is born from what you believe about your worth. Belief is not about arrogance or pretending. It's about alignment. It's about saying, "I'm not perfect, but I'm powerful. I'm still learning, but I'm capable." That shift changes everything. When you operate from that belief, you stop chasing and start attracting. Opportunities that once felt impossible begin to find you. People begin to notice you. Doors you once thought were locked begin to open. Not because the world suddenly became easier, but because you changed your frequency. You started moving like someone who knows they're worthy. You started thinking like someone who belongs. And that energy, it's magnetic. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait for proof before they believe. They say, "I'll believe in myself once I'm successful," or "I'll feel confident once someone recognizes me." That's not how it works. Belief comes first. Proof follows. If you wait for evidence before you believe, you'll spend your life waiting. Every successful person believed before anyone else did. They walked in faith when results weren't visible. That's what separates the dreamers from the achievers. The achievers don't need external permission to believe in themselves. They decide, and the decision itself becomes the foundation of their success. The power of belief doesn't just change your mindset. It rewires your destiny. When you believe you're capable, you start taking risks that your old self would have avoided. You start setting boundaries. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop playing small to make others comfortable. Belief transforms your energy into movement. You begin living from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. You begin seeing setbacks as setups, rejections as redirections, and every obstacle as an opportunity to prove your strength. Life bends in the direction of your belief. The stronger your belief, the more unstoppable your path becomes. So, if you want to transform your life, stop trying to convince the world and start convincing yourself. Rebuild that inner narrative. Speak power into your thoughts. Replace "I'm not ready" with "I'm being prepared." Replace "I don't deserve this" with "I am worthy of more." Because every time you choose a higher belief, you upgrade your reality. You create a version of yourself that life can't ignore. The moment you start seeing yourself as powerful, capable, and deserving, the world has no choice but to agree. Because in the end, it's not your talent, your background, or your luck that defines you. It's your belief. The world is simply reflecting back the person you've decided to become. Change that belief, and you change everything. You are not your circumstances. You are your choices. Life will always throw challenges your way, and some of them you didn't choose. You didn't choose where you were born, the family you came from, or the obstacles that appeared in your path. But what you do choose is how you respond to them. You choose whether to be defined by them or to rise because of them. Too many people surrender their power to circumstance, saying, "This is just how my life is." But the truth is, life isn't about what happens to you. It's about what you decide to do next. Every moment you breathe, you have a choice to repeat the past or to create something new. That choice, right there, is your power. When you understand this truth, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as the author of your story. Every single day gives you a blank page. The question is, are you writing intentionally, or are you letting someone else hold the pen? People often underestimate how much control they actually have. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you sail through it. You can't control what others do, but you can always control your attitude, your response, and your energy. And it's that control, those small, deliberate choices, that determine whether you stay stuck or rise higher. Think about it. Your choices are the turning points that shape your destiny. One brave decision can change the entire trajectory of your life. Choosing to leave a toxic environment, choosing to chase a dream, choosing to forgive, choosing to start over. These are not small acts. They are statements to the universe that say, "I am not my past. I am my potential." Every decision you make is casting a vote for the kind of life you want to live. And when you start making choices that align with who you want to become rather than who you've been, transformation begins. But here's the thing, most people avoid making hard choices because they fear discomfort. They wait for certainty before they move. They wait for perfect timing before they act. And while they wait, life passes them by. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in choice. Every great story begins with a decision that felt impossible. The hero doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. They create them. You have that same power. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you rewrite your story. You take back your narrative from fear and give it to faith. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances ever were. Even when life feels unfair, your choices remain your weapon. You can choose to learn from pain instead of being crushed by it. You can choose gratitude in the middle of chaos. You can choose to keep going when it would be easier to give up. That's what separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. The strongest people aren't the ones with the easiest lives. They're the ones who keep choosing to move forward, no matter what. Because every choice builds resilience, and resilience becomes strength. Over time, your consistent choices carve a new reality, one that no longer looks like where you started. So, stop saying, "I don't have control." You do. You have more power than you've been taught to believe. Life doesn't owe you guarantees. It gives you opportunities to choose differently. And the moment you decide to take ownership of your choices, your life begins to shift. You start to realize that you are not at the mercy of the world. You are shaping it, one decision at a time. You are not trapped by your past. You are guided by it towards something better. Every choice is a declaration of who you are and who you're becoming. Because in the end, your circumstances may influence your story, but they do not define it. Your choices do. And when you start choosing from strength instead of fear, you don't just change your life, you become unstoppable. RC. The most dangerous prison in the world isn't made of bricks or bars. It's made of limiting beliefs. You can live in a beautiful home, have freedom, have opportunities all around you, and still feel trapped. Why? Because the mind has built invisible walls you keep running into. Those walls are made of thoughts like, "I can't," "I'm not enough," "people like me don't succeed," or "it's too late for me." And every time you repeat those thoughts, the walls grow thicker, higher, and stronger. The scariest part is that you start believing the prison is real. You stop even trying to break free because you've convinced yourself that the limits are truth instead of illusion. But here's the secret. The only thing standing between you and your next level is a belief that says you can't get there. Limiting beliefs are sneaky because they disguise themselves as facts. They come from childhood experiences, from society, from people who projected their fears onto you. Maybe someone once told you that you weren't smart enough. And now every time you face something new, that voice echoes back. Maybe you failed once, and instead of seeing it as a lesson, you turned it into a label. "I'm a failure." These beliefs become internal scripts that run automatically. You stop questioning them, and they begin to define what you think is possible. But here's what most people never realize: beliefs aren't truths, they're choices. You chose them once, often unconsciously, and you can choose to rewrite them today. Breaking out of this prison starts with awareness. You have to look your beliefs in the eye and ask, who told me this? Where did this come from? And is it even true anymore? Most of the time, you'll find that the belief was born from fear, not fact. It's like discovering that the monster in the dark was never real. It was only a shadow your mind created. The moment you challenge those beliefs, the walls begin to crack. It's uncomfortable at first because those walls feel familiar. But freedom never feels familiar. It feels new. It feels uncertain. And that's the exact feeling that tells you you're on the right path. Once you start tearing down those walls, something incredible happens. You begin to see how powerful you've been all along. Every limitation you believed in was just a story you told yourself, and now you get to write a new one. You start saying, I can learn this. I can change. I can grow. That's the moment your entire world expands. The energy you used to spend doubting yourself transforms into movement, creativity, and boldness. You stop overthinking and start doing. You stop asking for permission to exist fully, because suddenly you realize that the limits were never real. The belief in them was. Freedom from limiting beliefs doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It means life becomes possible. It means you start to act from faith instead of fear. You stop comparing yourself to others because you understand that everyone's prison looks different. And as you grow, you learn that belief is not about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to act despite your fears. The same mind that once trapped you can now set you free. Every time you replace I can't with I will, you build strength. Every time you replace doubt with discipline, you build resilience. And that resilience becomes your new foundation. So, look at the walls you've built. The ones made of fear, shame, and old stories. Then make a decision. They don't get to define you anymore. You are not the prisoner. You are the architect. You can rebuild your mind, brick by brick, with thoughts of power, faith, and possibility. Because once you understand that those walls were never real, nothing can contain you again. You become unstoppable. You walk through life not as someone seeking freedom, but as someone who is freedom. Because the greatest escape isn't from a place, it's from a belief. And once you break free from the limits in your mind, there is nothing in this world that can hold you back. Tessie energy flows where your focus goes. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but it's one of the most powerful truths in existence. Whatever you choose to focus on multiplies. If you focus on fear, you'll find 1,000 reasons to be afraid. If you focus on gratitude, you'll start to see blessings everywhere. Your focus is like sunlight. It can nurture or it can burn. It has the power to illuminate your path or set fire to your peace. Most people don't realize that they are directing this power unconsciously every day. They focus on what's missing instead of what's possible, on what's wrong instead of what's right. And then they wonder why life feels heavy, chaotic, or stuck. The truth is, You can't live an abundant life while feeding your attention to lack. You can't grow while staring at what's broken. Your mind is a magnet, constantly attracting evidence of what it believes to be true. When you focus on problems, you magnify them. When you focus on solutions, you create them. Energy doesn't lie. It simply follows direction. That's why people who dwell in negativity always seem surrounded by more reasons to complain. It's not bad luck, it's focus. And the opposite is true too. Those who focus on progress, no matter how small, always seem to find new doors opening for them. It's not coincidence, it's clarity. The quality of your focus determines the quality of your reality. Where your mind goes, your life follows. The beautiful part is, focus is a choice. You might not control every event, but you can control where you place your attention. Two people can go through the same hardship. One sees defeat, the other sees a lesson. One spirals down, the other rises higher. The only difference is focus. And that's something you can redirect at any moment. You can choose to look for possibility even in pain. You can choose to see progress in the struggle. You can choose to anchor your mind in what you want instead of what you fear. Focus doesn't ignore reality. It reshapes how you experience it. Because your energy doesn't respond to what's happening. It responds to what you're thinking about what's happening. If you've ever noticed how one small thought can change your entire mood, you've already witnessed the power of focus. A single negative comment can ruin your day if you let it consume you. But a single word of gratitude can lift your spirit and shift your perspective. That's because your attention is sacred energy. It gives life to whatever it touches. When you focus on what empowers you, you become stronger. When you focus on what drains you, you become weaker. The mind doesn't discriminate, it simply follows instruction. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your energy to? Are you nurturing your dreams? Or are you watering your doubts? Training your focus is an act of self-mastery. It requires discipline to redirect your mind when it wants to dwell on what's wrong. It means choosing growth over gossip, solutions over complaints, purpose over distraction. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about refusing to give your power away to what's not. When you start guarding your focus like the treasure it is, you stop wasting time on things that don't move you forward. You begin to attract clarity, peace, and momentum. The things that once overwhelmed you lose their hold because you've learned to look beyond them. Your energy becomes aligned, and aligned energy is unstoppable. So, wherever you are in life, remember this: your focus is your compass. It's the silent force shaping your destiny. If you want to change your life, don't start by changing your job, your city, or your relationships. Start by changing your focus. What you choose to look at determines what you see. What you choose to see determines how you feel. And how you feel determines how you live. The moment you choose to focus on what strengthens you instead of what scares you, you take back your power. You stop surviving and start creating. You stop reacting and start leading. Because in the end, energy will always follow your focus. So choose wisely, focus on light, and your entire world will begin to shine. Every thought you think is either feeding your power or draining it. There's no middle ground. Every word you say to yourself, every mental image you replay, is sculpting your energy and your identity. Most people walk around unaware of how their inner dialogue shapes their reality. They speak weakness over themselves and then wonder why they feel powerless. They say, I can't handle this, I'm not talented enough, or things never work out for me. And those words become self-fulfilling prophecies. The mind listens. It doesn't question whether your thoughts are true, it just obeys them. So when you feed it doubt, fear, and limitation, it will deliver exactly that. But when you feed it belief, courage, and faith, it starts to work in your favor. Your life becomes a reflection of what you repeatedly say to yourself when no one else is listening. We underestimate the power of our own voice. We think negative thoughts are harmless because we've grown used to them. But every thought carries energy, and energy creates motion. When you fill your mind with disempowering thoughts, you slow down your momentum. You start walking through life heavy, hesitant, disconnected from your purpose. It's like carrying invisible weights that no one else can see, but you can feel every single day. On the other hand, when your thoughts are empowering, you move differently. You stand taller. You make decisions faster. You take risks with conviction. You operate from a place of faith instead of fear. That's how powerful your thoughts are. They can either paralyze you or propel you. The real challenge is learning to recognize which thoughts are serving you and which ones are silently stealing your strength. Every time you think, I'm not ready, ask yourself, who told me that? Every time you think, I don't deserve this, challenge it. Why not me? Awareness is the first step toward transformation. You can't change what you don't notice. Once you begin to see how often your own mind sabotages you, you gain the power to interrupt the pattern. And that interruption is everything. It's in those moments, those tiny pauses between thought and reaction, that you reclaim your power. You can choose a better thought. You can decide, this belief doesn't serve me anymore, and replace it with one that does. Replacing negative thoughts isn't about blind positivity. It's about mental strength. It's about saying, I'm not going to let old conditioning control my future. It's choosing to talk to yourself like someone you love instead of someone you've given up on. The words you speak internally are like seeds. They will grow if you keep watering them. So start planting better ones. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I'm improving every day. Instead of saying, I always fail, say, I'm learning faster each time. This isn't wishful thinking. It's reprogramming. You're retraining your brain to support your evolution rather than sabotage it. Over time, these new patterns become natural, and your entire vibration shifts upward. Your energy follows the direction of your dominant thoughts. If your mind is filled with worry, you'll attract more things to worry about. If your mind is filled with power, you'll attract experiences that reflect your strength. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. And what you are is a collection of your most consistent thoughts. That's why protecting your mental energy is essential. Be mindful of what you read, what you listen to, and who you spend time with. Your environment influences your thoughts, and your thoughts create your life. Everything begins in the mind. The stronger your thoughts, the stronger your energy, and the more magnetic your presence becomes. People will start to notice it, even before you speak. So, if you want to change your life, start with the words you say to yourself in the quiet. Your inner voice sets the tone for everything you touch. Feed it truth. Feed it confidence. Feed it purpose. Because the more you feed your power, the less room there is for fear. And as your thoughts become stronger, your world begins to respond differently. You'll notice opportunities appearing, relationships improving, and peace replacing chaos. Not because life suddenly changed, but because you did. You learned how to master the one thing that shapes everything else, your mind. Because in the end, your thoughts are not just reflections of who you are, they are instructions to life itself. Feed your power, and life will rise to meet it. Feed your doubt, and it will obey that too. The choice always is yours.